So a lot of us, we want to be free, right? We want to live freer lives. And people like to say, oh, it's a free society. I don't really like that term because how can it be a free society when you have to pay for everything? But it does beg the question as to, are you really free? Okay, and also, how free really are you? Because one could argue that you're not really free if you don't have the power to make your own decisions. And even if you are making your own decisions, you're still not free because the decisions that you're making are very limited. And it's a philosophical question, and we don't really get into that too much on this channel about freedom and how free are you and what is freedom and blah blah blah. We don't really get into that too much on this channel because it's opinion based really. But if I look at my own life, I look at my own life like I've always had to accept a lower quality. The decisions that I've been able to make have always pretty much been decisions that were pushed upon me, and I never really liked my options. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. I mean, a lot of us, we are just basically, I've spoken about this before, just living somebody else's life. I like to talk about being empowered and being able to live the life that you truly want to live. I mean, how many people are actually doing that though? We're talking about a minority. Most people are just living based upon what somebody else wants for them. And that's not a good position to be in. It's not. It's not a good position to be in. It's not a favorable position to be in. And one could argue that you're not really free. I mean, I look at my situation and, you know, I'm not living where I want to live. Okay. I'm not particularly living how I want to live. I'm not necessarily doing what I want to do. Am I free? Some could say yes, some could say no. But the way that I and most people have lived their lives, I look at it as a minor form of imprisonment. I do. I see it as a minor form of imprisonment because you aren't. Why is prison bad? Because you're denied your ability to do what you want to do. But they are given food, yes. They are given food that they don't get to choose. Well, I think you do get to choose in prison to a certain extent. You have a choice, but they're bad options though. But that's the thing. They're bad options. You got bad options in prison, but you do have some options. Are they free? No, they're not free, right? Because they're stuck in a prison. But some people volunteer for their own enslavement, essentially. When you go on the benefits, I mean, when you go on benefits, when you live off of government support, you don't get to choose where you live. You don't get any choice. They put you wherever, hey, you got to go up here. I mean, how many people have been moved hundreds of miles away from where they grew up because they're on a benefit system? They can't house you here. We're going to house you there. Your only choices come from the confines of how much money they give you in government support. So you have to eat the lowest quality foods, live in low quality accommodation, live where they put you. You can't afford to travel and leave the country. It's a minor form of enslavement. But even for the hardworking man, I mean, in modern day Britain, let's say, even a hardworking man really doesn't have that many choices anyway. I mean, so I look at it, yeah, it's like a minor form of enslavement. I mean, that's how I see it, a minor form of imprisonment. You don't have that many choices. I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh yeah, I'm so privileged to live in this in this house. I don't look at it like that. And people will say, oh, you're lucky, you're fortunate. I hate that kind of mentality, when people say that because it's like as if they don't want better for you, you know. It's as if they don't want the best for you. And your own so-called friends and your own so-called family will say that, yeah, we should be to a certain extent grateful for what we have, but you can be grateful for what you have and always strive for more at the same time. Those things don't go against one another. But, I was thinking about freedom and I was thinking about the choices that we make. And many of the choices that we make are not really, the decisions that we make are not based upon the fact that we actually want to do those things. The decisions are based upon the fact that economically, most of us are limited, we're restricted economically. I mean, these are expensive countries, I mean, to live in. You're paying a premium price to live out here, just to live out here, just to put a roof over your head. Putting a roof over your head's not an accomplishment, you know? I did that video on the homeless guy, and the guy was saying, just put a roof over me head. I mean, these are the kind of people who don't understand how the world works. Oh, just put a roof over me head. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? But this is the thing. I mean, this is the situation that we find ourselves in. A lot of people are crazy. A lot of people are nuts. I'll put a roof over me head. I'll sort out the rest. And it's just like, people are lost. I mean, this society ain't gonna give you nothing. You're a single man, put a roof over me head. What are you talking about? I mean, but that's the thing. I look at my situation and it's like I've been restricted. I never really got what I wanted, man. I always had to accept a lower quality version. I've always had to accept something that I didn't really want. I've always had to look at my options and be like, to be honest with you, I don't want any of those options. That's been, and that's not me. That's not me. That's most people. Most people just look at their options and it's like, I don't really like any of these options. But that's what's available though. And it's like, that's why I'm such a big proponent of expatriation because at least when you touch down in other countries, you know, the choices that you make, you got more, you got more choices when you touch down in other countries. You can live by the beach. You can live in the city and you can station yourself and you can choose what region you want to be in. You can choose your region, you can choose your street. There are restrictions obviously in every country. No country is going to be truly 100% free, but you got more autonomy, if that's the correct word. Here in a country like the UK, especially the southeast of England, where all the millionaires and billionaires are living in this country, most of them anyway. You, I've always lived in the poor. part, you know, not necessarily poor, because I've never lived in what they call a council estate, or a council, what they call a council flat. I've never really lived in that, but I've never lived in the rich part of town. Would I prefer to live in a rich part of town? Yes, I would prefer to. But the thing is that, you know, I'm not in a situation where I can say I justify spending that much money, especially when I'm leaving the country anyway. But even if I wasn't leaving the country, I have to say to myself, can I justify doing that? As a single guy, can I justify I'm living cheap right now? But that's the point. But you're making decisions and doing things that you really don't really want to do. That's not a good position to be in. That's not a position that you would want to be in. It's not a favorable position, but it's a position that you're in because that's how the society is set up. The society is not set up for many people to have a good quality of life. And each generation, you notice that it's getting worse. So if you look at your parents, they probably didn't have a great life either. But see, they had more opportunities. I don't, opportunity is not the right word. Uh, Opportunity is probably not the right word because one could argue we have more opportunities today, but there was a higher percentile of people. There's a higher chance of people living a higher quality of life as compared to now. You look at the statistics now, and I've spoken about this, there's going to be a large percentage of people dying in poverty. I don't say that to scare people. I say that because that's what the numbers show. Okay? I'm not saying that to scare anyone. I'm not saying that to bash anybody. But that is indeed what the numbers actually show. So I'm just saying that. Okay? But it gets worse generation by generation. We see that. We see each generation, it gets worse. And that's why I'm so committed to succeeding in business and becoming a wealthier person and wealth creation because I see that without that, I'm going to remain restricted. I'm going to remain restricted for the rest of my life. And I can't bear that. I just can't bear that. I just can't bear that. I can't bear to think that my situation would not be greatly improved as I get older down the line. I can't bear to think that. I can't bear to think that I would have to remain in this position because this is not an empowered position. This is not a fulfilling position. And we all, let's be honest, want empowered and fulfilling lives. We all want that. We don't want to live disempowered. No, who the hell wants to live disempowered? Who wants to live like that? Only a fool wants to live disempowered. I mean, like I said, some idiots, end up homeless. Some people end up, um, living in government, council properties. But that's the thing. I don't want that for myself. But see, this is a problem that what we see is that a lot of people, they just elect to give up basically their own power. They give their power away because they're doomers. They've given up. We're going to be talking about that a bit later on in this video. But there is really no cheat code, man. People trying to cheat the system, and that's one thing that pisses me off. Like, people are really trying to cheat the system. Like, some of you guys might not get that, some of you guys might get that, I don't know, but too many guys, too many guys are trying to cheat the system. Why are you trying to cheat the system though? There is no cheat in the system. You're gonna have to make that money. You got a better plan? Share it with me. I haven't seen one. I haven't seen a way that you can cheat the system. I haven't seen a way that you can do that. If you believe you can do that, feel free to share it with me. But people who think that they can just not make money and have freedom and have power and control over their own lives, nah, bro, if you don't make the money, you're gonna be basically in prison. You're gonna be enslaved, man. You're gonna be in a situation whereby you have no real choices over your own situation. And people have always done this. Under the slavery days, there were people that planned, to revolt against the slave master. But it's a Stockholm syndrome. They thought that that's what all that life has to offer. And there's different camps of people who don't understand what I'm saying. Some people, they think that their life thus far is all that life has to offer. They don't believe that it gets better. They don't believe that it can get better because this is what they've seen thus far. Thus far, they have seen a garbage life, so they believe that a garbage life is what is available, what is attainable. And that's a bad situation to be in. That's a messed up situation to be in. That you truly believe that your situation can't get better. We can talk about that later, but I'm not trying to cheat the system because I know that's foolish and it's a waste of time. I'm not trying to do that. All I'm trying to do is improve my situation. And you're not improving the situation without making money. Yeah, you can improve your situation by just going to a different country and making the same amount of money, but you still need a baseline money and you still need money coming through every month to keep yourself to maintain and offset the inflation and etc. etc. So, but that's the thing. I'm not one of those guys who is trying to, and then we're going to talk about escaping the matrix in another video. We're going to talk about what they call escaping the matrix. I'm not a big fan of the term, but we're going to talk about escaping the matrix in another video. But I'm not one of them guys who thinks that I can cheat this system. I'm not even trying to cheat this system, man. Because the way I see it, I have to fight my way out of the position that I'm in. I have to fight my way. Nobody's gonna give me anything. Nobody's gonna give me a damn thing. It's up to me to fight tooth and nail to claw my way out of the position that I find myself in. That's up to me to do that. This is nobody else's responsibility. Some people see themselves as victims. They see themselves as victims because they were born in that position, right? But I just look at it like, it's my responsibility to get myself out of it. Whether it was a burden that was placed on me or not, all that is just a waste of time whining and complaining about it. Ultimately, you're here. You're here in this situation. What are you gonna do about it? Really and truly, what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna sit there and cry like a wimp, like a wuss? Or are you gonna fight it? Fight it tooth, fight it nail, and just keep fighting it. I elect to fight. Some people don't elect that. But you see, I there's one thing that I look at and I say, I feel like that was an important time. And it was the pandemic, when the pandemic kicked off, okay? The pandemic kicked off in early 2020. I think it was officially declared sometime in March 2020. But they claim, anyway, I'm not going to say that, but it was officially declared in March 2020, right? So for me, I stopped playing video games, okay, early 2020. In fact, the last game I beat, I remember the last game I beat, it was a Star Wars game. It was a Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, okay? That was the last game that I beat. I I started it in the holidays of end of 2020. I think I either completed it before the new year or sorry, no, I said that wrong. I started it end of 2019, okay, and I beat it either just before the new year or just after the new year in 2020. So that was the last game I beat. I did some gaming in January as well, but I don't remember gaming much beyond January 2020. Okay. So the pandemic hit. We were locked down. Okay. Initially, most people thought 3 to 6 months and we'll be out of this. Oh no. Oh no. It was a lot worse than that. In fact, we're still in it, right? We're still in it. But the point that I'm making is that throughout that time, throughout the pandemic period, okay, I saw my plans get scuppered. Okay. Obviously, those of you who follow my channel know that I had long-term plan to expatriate to Southeast Asia, and I saw my plans get scuppered. I saw that what I'd been working for had just been basically blown up in my face because I had no outlet. Flights were banned, and I had no way to even plan my expatriation, let alone go. I couldn't plan it because I had no options to go. And, you know, it was getting worse and worse. When it kicked off, countries would close, and before I knew it, every country was closed, and I was completely stuck. I was completely stuck. And it wasn't the fact that I couldn't go, it was also the fact that I couldn't plan anything. I was stuck. Now, at that point, okay, at that point, I could have completely shut down. I could have defaulted back to what I knew, which was video games. I could have defaulted back to what I knew because my plans were scuppered, because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I could have said, what's the point? What's the point of pursuing wealth? I can't even leave, right? But I didn't. I just kept going. I didn't give in. And I wasn't necessarily pushed to play games. It's not like I was tempted and I was fighting it not to play games. It didn't cross my mind. It didn't so much cross my mind to go back to video games during that period. I wasn't really so concerned about it. Although it had been a vice of mine and a major vice of mine for the longest time, it wasn't a major concern of me of wanting to go back to video games. But I could have. I could have done that. I absolutely could have done that. But I didn't. I just kept going and I proved it to myself at that time that I didn't need to play video games. I didn't need gaming. I had overcome my vice. I'd overcome my major vice. I've never been a big drinker. I've never been a drug user, even weed. But gaming had been a vice of mine, and gaming is a vice. Some people may think gaming is not a vice. It's definitely a vice. Gaming had been a major vice of mine, but I defeated it. I could have become a doomer throughout that time. I could have become a doomer. See, I understand how doomerism works. I understand how you become a doomer because at that point I could have became one. At that point, I felt aggrieved. I felt victimized because what I had been working towards was basically halted. It was at a standstill. And even to this day, almost 3 years down the line, it's still affected. It's better now than it was, but it's still affected. My plans are still affected. But I learned patience over that period. I learned patience. I learned resilience. I learned focus. These are important traits. These are very important traits. I didn't learn that through watching some nonsensical manosphere red pill content. I wasn't consuming that garbage. And any of it that I did see, I didn't take it seriously. I saw it as a joke. But you see, those traits were acquired through actual life experiences, through going through the hardships of life and coming through the other side as a better man, as an evolved man. See, I have evolved. And see, that's why the Unreal Man channel is a bit different to the Unreal One channel. Some of you guys who've been following me would notice that. Why is that? Because I've evolved, because those experiences, the tough, and it's tough from a mental perspective. It's mental toughness, not physical toughness. But I had to be mentally strong to keep myself going. But see, I understand the power of money. You know, people like to bash and dismiss money, but if I wasn't making money at that time, you know, would I have been able to keep myself going? I don't think so. I think I would have found it very hard if I wasn't making money. If I didn't have a long-term plan, would I have been able to keep going? Again, I think I would find it very hard. And I would guess no, I probably wouldn't have been able to keep going. Money keeps you going. Money keeps you committed. Money keeps you focused because it gives you something to look forward to. We all need something to look forward to in our lives. You can't be just living with nothing to look forward to. That's a bad position to be in. And that's a step to, you know, becoming a dangerous man. I'm sorry, but that's the facts. You're gonna become a dangerous man, bro. You need something to look forward to, bro. Like you really do need something to look forward to in life. You can't just be some guy, who believes that uh, life has nothing to offer. What, we trying to become the next Jake Davison? I mean, that's what Jake Davison did. What he did, what he did because he knew it was over for him. He didn't have anything to look forward to. He had no goals. He had no ambition. That's when you become a very dangerous man. I understand what makes a man dangerous. I understand that, right? But I choose to not go in that direction. I choose to go in a direction that is a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do though, because I've seen that my life hasn't so much improved, right? But see, because I know without any shadow of doubt that I'm gonna get there, that's what's gonna keep me going. That's why it's not hard for me to keep going. You become a machine. You become a machine because you're just so committed to getting what you want and getting what you deserve, man. That's what it has to be. You have to feel like and know that you deserve better. You have to want better for yourself. Some of you guys got self-hatred. Some of you guys got issues that are preventing you from really taking this thing to the next level. But I understand that, it's the situation that you're in right now doesn't define you. It's not who you are, it's what you've been given. And I don't define myself by what I've been given. I define myself by what I can get. See, it's a change of perspective. What can you get? Not what you've been given. What you've been given is your circumstance. What you can get, you have to see that as your future. And that's how you do it. It's all about mindset. I've been preaching that for the longest time. It's all about your mindset. It's all about how you view things, how you frame things. And some of you guys are here for the wrong reasons. And that's how I know that you're a loser. Because you're here to feel good about yourself. You're here to feel like you're doing something. No, this is not self-improvement. Watching this channel is not self-improvement. If you think watching this channel is self-improvement, then you got a problem. It's not self-improvement to watch this channel. Watching this channel, taking the information and actually doing something about your situation, that's self-improvement and that's empowerment. So that's what you have to understand. It's the Unreal Man here, the truth and mass. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you're informed every time I load a new video.